Hello everyone! Today's episode is going to be a special one because we're going to be doing a customer request. So let's get down to it. I'm going to be showing you guys the easiest way to embroider on the back of a cap and how to get your lettering along the little curve on this opening of the hat. Before we get started, don't forget to please like and subscribe. Like I said in last week's episode, we already hit the 20,000 subscriber mark, which is amazing. Thank you guys for all your support. Please keep this channel going by liking, subscribing, leaving a comment. Any support helps. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the tutorial. Now for the back of the caps, you do not need to use a cap driver. You're going to be embroidering it just like if it were a flat. So there are actually two ways to embroider the back of a cap. One, you can use a small standard hoop that comes with your machine. You're just most likely gonna need to hoop it on the corner of a table. And now, if you don't wanna go through that trouble, you can also use this, the 8-in-1 device. And this is the easiest way to embroider the back of the cap because it has one frame specifically designed to fit the back of a cap. Now the 8-in-1 device is a specialty bracket that comes with 8 different frames. This is just one of them. There are tons of other frames that fit different items that are usually a little bit difficult to hoop. So if you have any perhaps socks or pant legs or pockets, you can embroider it using the 8-in-1 device. We actually have a video on the different uses for the different frames. So I highly encourage you to go check it out if you are interested in simplifying your embroidery process. So aside from the 8-in-1 device, I'm also going to be using adhesive stabilizer, which you would use along with your 8-in-1 device or anything basically that you want to float. Just have scissors here just in case, but that's basically all we need. All we need is one of these, some adhesive stabilizer, and we can make this happen. Now, once I've actually hooped this and I take it over to the machine, I'm going to explain how we actually got the lettering to curve along the little opening. So I am essentially just grabbing the adhesive stabilizer and placing it underneath the frame, and then I'm going to rip it off. So there are two ways you can do it. You can actually fold it over. I feel like that gives me a little bit more stability, so I personally like folding it over, but I don't want to ruin these hoops right now. I want to keep them nice and clean, so I'm just going to cut it along the edges. So this is what it's supposed to look like. All we have to do next is just insert it into this master bracket, and all I'm doing is just rotating this knob to be able to slide this right in. And then there's 2 little notches that these openings attach to. Once that's in flush, I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten it up. And that's pretty stable. So now I can actually go ahead and put this in the machine. I find that it's easier to first put it in the machine and then place the hat over. But if you wanted to, you can place the hat over too. But for me, it's just easier to put it in the machine. It also depends on what you are hooping with the 8-in-1. So there are some instances, like when I did socks, that I believe I put the garment on the hoop first, and then I put it into the machine. So it really just depends on what you're working with. But anyway, let's go ahead and put this into the machine so we can talk about how we're getting the curved lettering. So there are some notches along the side of this hoop that allow you to actually line up the hat on either side of the notches. That way you know that you're putting it in straight and that it's not crooked, so that you get perfect placement. All right, so I'm just going to line up the end of each strap. So basically the end of the hat, right? If you feel like it is necessary, you can go ahead and put some pins just to give you some extra security. But it should be fine just floating on the adhesive stabilizer. So really important when you are embroidering on the back of the hat, you have to remember to flip your design on the screen, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and flip the design in my editing section. One last thing before we hit start, whenever embroidering with the 8-in-1 hoop, I always bring the speed down to about 600, just because we are working on something that is being floated. Basically means that the material is floating and it's not inside the hoop. So essentially, the faster it goes, the faster the needle penetrates down on the fabric, and that can cause the fabric to shift and you lose registration. We don't want that to happen, so we can just combat that by lowering the speed. So I'm gonna go ahead and press start for real now. Alright, so the embroidery portion is done, and in just a second I'm going to tell you guys how we were able to get the text to follow this curvature perfectly. Okay. Alright, so all I'm going to do to take the hat out is just rip it right out, because this is adhesive tearaway. So I can tear it right off. It's very easy to remove. And look at that. I have the text right along that curvature. So the question is, how do we get it to curve and match the hat? So there's a little hack that you can do. It's basically all done in the digitizing. So all you need to do is take a photo of the hat that you're embroidering, and then you would set that photo as the background when you are creating your digitized lettering. So very simple, you would just curve the lettering along the actual photo, and that's a pretty cool and quick hack to be able to match the curvature. That is exactly what we did for this video. So yeah, don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. A lot of people just use this method. All right, so that was pretty straight and to the point. This is a pretty simple technique. It was a request, so I hope all of you guys find this helpful. If you have any other requests or any comments about this video's questions, leave a comment below. And as always, like, subscribe, and join our Facebook group, Embroidery and Custom Apparel Mastery, which I have linked below. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. Awkward wave. Is that okay? No? Growing and glowing. Que pena. Okay, let's not say.